Internet! Welcome back to Mutton Shop Gaming. I'm Mutton Shop Gamer, and this is Pajama Sam, No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside. Now I know you're all thinking, why am I critiquing this game? It's an old game! Well, this is the first video game I ever beat, and so for my 10th video, I figure there's no better subject than that one. So without any further ado, let's get started.
The narrative is simple enough. You play as Sam, a kid of the 90s who likes comic books and is afraid of the dark, with darkness being personified in his favorite comic book series, Pajama Man. I guess so many comic book heroes look like they're in pajamas that it makes sense to have a comic book character literally called Pajama Man. As Sam gets to the climax of the story, his mother does what all moms do. Interrupt the story at the most exciting part, tell him to do his chores, and go to bed without the lights on. Sam tries to go to sleep, but is too afraid to because he thinks that darkness lives in his closet. So he dons his Pajama Sam costume and ventures into his closet when he falls into the hole his older brother made in there to store all of his drugs. Don't believe me about the drugs? Well, he falls through the title sequence of the game and into the land of darkness. Clearly, he had to have fallen in the drug hole in order to hallucinate all of this. As he ventures forward into the land of darkness, he encounters... Ah! Look, I've always been afraid of trees with faces. I don't know if it was the Wizard of Oz, Snow White, or this game, but who thought this was a good idea for kids? Anyway, this creepy thing is apparently customs, and like Border Patrol, he decides to be a jerk, but lets the illegal turquoise kid into the country without proper paperwork anyway, stealing the integral pieces of his Pajama Sam costume. So now you are guiding Pajama Sam through the land of darkness, attempting to get all of your things back together in order to defeat darkness and capture him in your signature edition all-metal Pajama Man lunchbox. Okay, fair enough for a kid's game, and I do like Darkness's motivations here. Just listen.
I never have anyone to play with. At night, when I come out, everybody's asleep.
But let's transition into the aesthetics by talking about some of the dialogue along with the characters, because the characters here are pretty memorable. Like this boat, Otto, who is afraid of water and blabs on for a long time. Don't believe me? Here's a fast-forwarded version of his educational speech, at 400% of its original speed. But at least he'll let you ride him after you prove to him that wood float. Uh-oh. There's also more trees with faces, a well, a minecart, almost everything can talk.
I ain't got nobody.
Shut up, Beethoven. The writing for this game is mixed. There's a lot that a kid would understand, and that's fair enough. It is a kid's game, but there are also things that I never understood as a kid that are really funny today. Bureaucrats. In terms of visuals, the game is actually really good. Sure, it's a bit dated and pixelated for the cartoon style, but let's actually think about this. The art style is very surreal, and I'm not using that term like most on the internet, just calling it something weird. If you look closely, everything you see here is as a child would imagine it in a dream. See, the surrealist movement in art history was meant to make work based on the subconscious and dreams. It's why Salvador Dali would paint what he saw as he was going to sleep. It's why Magritte painted draped faces after having seen his drowned mother's naked body, her nightgown rising to drape her face. This game goes into what I believe young Sam has in his subconscious. How we learned about geysers from his own mind, I don't know, but it works. Now, you could argue that this isn't surrealism because the designers weren't showing their own subconscious, and I get that argument. However, Sam is a character they created, and if a character in one's head reflects a piece of them, it could reflect a piece of their own subconscious. Or, at the very least, they are working to make a world around the character be from his subconsciousness. And before you ask, no, this isn't all a dream. The ending makes that very clear. Okay, I've lectured you all enough about what surrealism really is. Let's move on to music, because I rather like it. It's not particularly memorable for background music, but it paints a good mood for the game. It's a bit earthboundy at times with how the music plays out with synthesizers, xylophone, and plucked bass. It's not very melody-driven, but it has a charm to it nonetheless that I would be remiss if I were to say it's not that good.
Now I know what you're all thinking. This wouldn't be a critique of a humongous entertainment game if we didn't have a lip-synced musical number to go with it. So what do you say, Peanut Butter Gamer? You wanna help me out?
Yeah!
That's what I wanted to hear. Let's get on with it!
Please, won't you open the door since I have another victim?
What? I surrender, not ever. Oh wait, now I see.
You now have captured that troublesome carrot leader guy. I'll open up my door so you can put that rogue inside my drawer.
Oh no, our orange leader was caught.
Our fight for our freedom for us. We are diminished.
Completely finished. Hey guys, don't you see he's with me and you're free to go.
Free!
Yes, free.
Free!
Uh-huh.
Really free!
Free. Yeah,
free,
yeah,
free,
sure.
free.
Whee! All right.
I'd like to thank these critics and reviewers for actually showing up and totally not being cheap video editing effects.
Please don't sue me.
Oh, and that was written by the same guy who wrote the Elder Scrolls theme, by the way. It's worth noting, though, that I ran into a glitch in the music for the game once. Here's the way it's supposed to sound. Here's how it sounded on this particular playthrough. Aside from the music, there are your typical cartoon sound effects. You know, the stuff you'd hear in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon on a Saturday morning. I like them, but there's not much to go about with talking about them. They all work well, they all sound good, so let's just move on to gameplay. Like most humongous entertainment games, this game is a point-and-click adventure game. However, this is one that was made for kids, so they felt they had to make it easy by having the cursor highlight over what was clickable. In order to combat this change of difficulty, the developers did what they did in the first Putt-Putt game, make it so weird animations start playing with every click. There's a lot of them, but I won't go too much into them. Your inventory is on the bottom of the screen. You can bring the cursor down there to pull up all the items that you can use. Unlike most point-and-click games of this time period, this one actually does follow a decent string of logic. You're not trying to use the rope on everything, you're trying to use the rope on the wood to get it from the water because apparently Sam can't swim. The whole game is finding things to add to your inventory to move forward until you can manage to get all 3 pieces of your Pajama Sam costume. And it's worth mentioning that this game randomizes how you have to collect them, having 2 separate scenarios for every piece. So you can get some replay value out of this game if you have yet to get that piece in that location. There are also mini-games like Cheese and Crackers, aka Tic-Tac-Toe Simulator 1996. If you want to get there though, you'll have to pay the toll to Mr. Bridge Guy here. How much is the toll?
1 pound of gold.
Are we talking 1996 prices of gold or the 2014 value? Seriously, the difference is thousands of dollars and I'm just a kid! Another mini-game is this remote mining terminal, aka the poor version of Snake. It has set puzzles with random bonuses appearing in the level now and again, but the controls aren't that good. Every time you hit the button, whether with the joystick on the screen or your own arrow keys, you end up having to wait a second or time it just right for when the minecart gets on the grid space. Honestly, you'd have more fun with that Flash version of Snake I showed you a few weeks ago. Aside from this, your mom told you to pick up all of your socks, and most of the socks are randomized too. I swear though, sometimes the socks just don't appear or there are no matches for some of these socks. Seriously, I've looked everywhere. The river, the mine maze, Darkness's house, they're nowhere to be found sometimes. Oh, but do you want to know what happens if you get all the socks? Nothing. You get nothing! Good day, sir! A little animation of socks going into the washer, but nothing else at all. No completion bonus, not even an alternate credit sequence, it's always the same images and the same music. Major disappointment.
Now I know it's a kid's game, so I can't be too hard in it, but at the same time, if I'm not hard enough on it, all of you will call me a nostalgia-blind man-child. So, with everything in mind, there's enough here to keep kids entertained that aren't being given M-rated games by ignorant parents. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B-. There's enough here that a child can enjoy it, and if you're a grown adult like me, you'll be able to get a few chuckles out of the dialogue, and you might even have a little bit of fun, so it's worth a playthrough. It's just not perfect. Alright, see you next week.
Hey, rather than just the like, comment, and subscribe shtick, I'm doing a live stream today, May 15th, 2014, at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific, where I beat Super Mario Bros. For the first time ever. If you want to check it out, I'm not gonna stop ya. The link is in the description. I mean, it's summer. What else are you gonna do? Work?